And welcome, everybody, to the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon. How are you?
Good. Kind of tired of this hot weather, but it is what it is. Southern Arizona.
Yeah, a couple more months. All right, Pat, we're going to start with our Huddle poll question, and that kind of leads us to our interviewee today. And so this week's Huddle poll question is the following. So what's the best Arizona Wildcats sports moment in the last 5 years? And so these are the three I picked, but if you've got a different one, I'd be happy to hear it. The Alamo Bowl win, football, women's basketball beating UConn in the Final Four to reach the national championship game, or the triathlon team winning the national championship. And I want to hear what you think first. We'll let you do what you pick first. But yeah, all right. Let me hear what you think, and I'll give you mine.
While I think it's amazing that in such a short time with the program, the triathlon women's team has won the national championship, hats off. That's amazing. It is a little bit of a sport where there aren't as many teams competing at it.
That's the issue.
That's the only problem with that. You and I were both there on the field as the Wildcats celebrated the Alamo Bowl win, and while it was an amazing comeback, it's and one of the highlights. Certainly, you can make an argument top 10 moments in Arizona football history. Going to the Final Four and then beating a powerhouse like UConn in women's basketball is amazing to me. And that whole run, it just kept going and feeding off itself, and it was very special. Not just that game, that was kind of one of the final steps in that process that was so remarkable. But then they were a shot away from winning the national championship too, Jason, against Stanford. So to me, that was the one I picked. That's the one that stands out, not taking anything away from the other two. They're wonderful moments that I'll always remember, but that one to me stands out.
And you're sure this has nothing to do with your feelings towards Jedd Fisch at all?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I can take that away. I still know what it means. And I was a proud season ticket holder for that, of Arizona football. But to me, and if you would have asked me this a week ago and I didn't even know, spoiler alert, we were going to hear from Ari McDonald today, I still would have said that. I think it goes down as one of those rare moments for a university that you can reach that pinnacle. The University of Arizona men's basketball team's only been there 4 times, and it's been a long time since that. It's been 26 years since that. So we were looking at history in the making. It was very unique. The bubble during COVID, all that kind of stuff. But they beat Paige Bueckers and UConn. I mean, you can't say that very often.
Yeah, no, that's what I picked, and that's why. The Final Four is just another level, and that run and that game when they were up, at some point double digits too on UConn, and they really couldn't stop Ari for a little bit offensively there, and then defensively the job that she did on Paige Bueckers. They're now both in the WNBA. So I picked the same thing. I agree with you. And that's the deal with the triathlon. Obviously, that's a national championship, but it's not even NCAA. I have to write national championship. And it is fewer teams. So love what they did. They've got some fantastic student athletes.
They do.
The Alamo Bowl win is terrific. And even though it's football, football is bigger than women's basketball. That made them 11th in the country, not even top 10. Mm-hmm. And this is a Final Four win over UConn. So we're in agreement there. And later in the show, we'll check the results and we'll see what they are. But we did put that in just because, Pat, it does have to do with today's guest. We did it ahead of time because she's playing tonight, but I had a chance to speak with former Arizona Wildcat women's basketball star Ari McDonald over Zoom yesterday, and we're going to play that in just a second. But first, I just want to say, Pat, there is one little murky part where I asked her about something it wasn't really specific because she knew what I was talking about in case the viewer doesn't. But she was in national news with some comments that Jason Whitlock, a ESPN reporter, made regarding her hair, and so that's what I didn't say specifically her hair. Yep. And so that's what that's about. So let's play that now. About a 6-minute interview with Ari McDonald I did yesterday, and then Pat and I will come back on the other end and react to it. Ari McDonald of the Indiana Fever, thanks for a few minutes here. You're coming off recently a career-high 27-point performance. What has been working so well for you?
I think that I've been able to finally, knock down shots from the arc, and I think that once I saw the ball go in from deep, I thought that that opened up the floor for me and able to attack either for myself or just to find my teammates.
Yeah. What has joining Indiana done for your career in the last few weeks?
It's done a lot. It's a blessing to be here. Just in the short, time span I've been here, I feel like my game has grown a lot. I feel like I'm involving into a really good point guard, but I feel like I still have, a ways to go. But just like my first time, like really playing for a coach, like who's, played in my position, played the point, played at the highest level, and also just, having really good assistants, just always in my ear and just, always giving me pointers to improve.
It must have been a big transition going from a situation where at U of A you're the best player on the court to a situation here this past year where you didn't always have a spot on the WNBA team and you had to really prove yourself and have a great game every game because you didn't know what was coming next.
Yeah, this league is full of, great players, and so just me, I feel like my throughout my whole career I had to prove myself and just prove what I can do it year in, year out. So I mean that's nothing new to me, but just I think that I'm able to, play at a high level and just be successful where I am now is because of the coaching staff I have around me, how they just instill confidence in me also from my teammates. So I feel like that's why I'm able to be successful and play my game every night.
Have you played much with Caitlin Clark on the same court? I know she's been hurt.
We probably played, I want to say maybe one or two games together, not really much.
What's it like being her teammate?
It's good. I mean, it's an experience, just seeing, a player have so much hype around her. It's really good and just I've been in awe how she handles everything with grace and just how she handles everything. I think, besides just her great basketball skills, I think that she's a really good person. So I mean, I think that's good to see, especially like, a type of caliber player she is.
I bet she's glad that you're no longer guarding her. I remember a game last year where I believe you were with the Sparks and you were guarding her so tightly. It almost reminded me of the Paige Beckers game against UConn when you were guarding her so tightly. Did she make any comment to you, or she didn't really say anything about that?
No, we haven't discussed that game at all or just, what happened. But I mean, I was hoping that, one of us would bring it up, but I mean like it was so long ago, so it's like
Yeah, yeah. How much have you been able to keep track of what's going on with Arizona women's basketball? Obviously, a new, coaching change and all. First, we'll talk about, Adia. Have you spoken with her recently at all?
I haven't spoke with the D at all.
Okay. Has Becky Burke reached out to you at all, the new Arizona women's basketball coach? I know she's done some outreach, but maybe she hasn't gotten to everyone. Have you spoken with her at all?
Yes, I've spoken to Coach Burke. She wrote me, a letter and sent me some gear, like a little care package. I also spoke to Coach Julie. So, keeping in touch with them and just hopefully, if time affords me, I'll get down there and just meet the new players and new staff.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to see you. You said recently that yeah, you're from California, but you also feel you're a little bit from Arizona. What made you say that?
Just it's something about Arizona, state of Arizona, or just Tucson in general. Like I feel like every time I leave Tucson, I kind of get that feeling like dang, like I miss it. And so just I feel like Tucson holds a special place in my heart. I spent a lot of years there and just created a lot of special bonds and just that's a place that I'll never forget.
Okay, and you have a big week coming up, including a game against the Mercury, the team you just had, 27 points. The Fever doing much better as you're fighting here for playoff position. How do you see the coming week play out?
It's gonna be tough. Always put on the road, it's gonna be tough. We've had multiple games, almost every other day. But I mean, that's a part of being a pro. It's part of our schedule. But I mean, we just can't take any of our opponents lightly. Respect all, fear none, like our coach has been saying. So I mean, we're going into Phoenix. We play late. Like we're not going in and think it's gonna be a cakewalk. Like no, we get everyone's best shot every night. So we just have to be locked in and just keep playing the way we've been playing.
And finally, how do you deal with all the outside noise? There was a little, I don't want to call it a controversy, but a situation recently with an ESPN reporter, talking about your appearance and all that. I mean, I guess it's good if the tension's on you and you don't seem too bothered by it. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to stuff like that. It's ridiculous. But they don't pay my bills. Everyone has an opinion. So I mean, it is what it is. But that'll probably be like my first and last time, responding to somebody like he doesn't deserve my attention. But I mean, I just gotta speak up for myself. I know I'm nice, I'm passive, but I mean, at some point you gotta, speak up for yourself. So I mean, I feel like I handled it in a classy way, respectful way. So I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm here to play my game, get better, win. So that's all that matters.
You're doing all those things. Ari McDonald, former University of Arizona basketball, women's basketball star. Thanks for a couple of minutes here. We really appreciate it, and good luck this week and the rest of the way. Keep doing great things, and we cannot wait to see you on the court with Caitlin Clark, passing to her and her passing to you too. I'm sure she'd love to play with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me, and just thank you for the continued support.
Thanks so much, Ari. Have a great day.
Thank you too.
Yeah, we're back here, back live now. Jason, Pat, yeah, certainly Caitlin Clark's been injured, and
Yeah.
that's kind of actually what opened the door a little bit for her.
Right.
Not just her injury, but the few injuries that happened. But she made sure that when players returned, there was still a spot for her. The way that Ari McDonald played the last few weeks, and Pat, there's a lot to unpack there. I think the first thing I'd say is, we saw how good she was here at U of A, but for whatever reason, it hadn't materialized in the WNBA until now. So Ari seemed to think it was the right coach, but whatever it is, sometimes something just clicks.
And I think I saw she's played 17 games now for Indiana, and I believe she started something like 9 or 10 of them with Caitlin Clark out and with other injuries that they've had. And that's more than nine or 10 games. That's more than she ever started with Atlanta, the team that drafted her third overall. So it's probably more just opportunity, and she's making the most of the opportunity. Clearly, you get a short-term contract, and you're playing your rear end off because you want to make that
right.
a full-time contract, which she did earn, and she earned it, and she'll keep getting to play there. She's averaging almost 10 points a game and 4.5 assists a game. So her stats are very good. And you mentioned that big game she had just the other night. I think she's proving to everybody what we saw, and it maybe just takes a little time sometimes. And if it's the right opportunity, maybe she wasn't getting it. Now she's got the right opportunity, but now she's also deserved more playing time, even with a full, healthy Indiana roster whenever that happens and Caitlin Clark does come back.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that was interesting, certainly, I don't think there's any bad feelings between her and Adia Barnes. There's no reason for that, but I guess maybe they're not as close. I was kind of surprised she didn't say, "Oh yeah, congratulated when she got the SMU job" or anything like that. Just she hadn't spoken to her. I know they're busy, but you would have thought sometimes since Adia took the SMU.
No, and I would have thought that that's one player that Adia Barnes would. You know how coaches have those athletes where they just constantly talk to them, even just once a week. You're still gonna call your coach, or your coach is gonna call, "How you doing?" Because there are, you don't want to play favorites, but there are players that are, important players in the program's history, and Ari certainly is one of those. I'm surprised with the way she responded to your question about have you talked to Adia lately, and it was definitely no. And then you said Coach Burke, and she perked up and said, yeah, she reached out, sent me a little care package. I thought that was telling. I don't know what it means exactly, but I think it was telling.
Yeah, sometimes women's basketball players, I don't think it's the sport or anything like that, but sometimes you get an honest answer. One time we were interviewing, I remember when the team made the WNIT, and we were talking to one of the reserve players who was part of the rotation. The beat writer for the paper said, what made you play track and field or participate in that also in high school? And the player said, oh, my mom made me.
My mom made me.
I know sometimes you get an honest answer, but about Becky Burke sent the care package and everything.
Yeah.
And
so that's good.
And Sam Thomas, I think, may have been there actually for the Becky Burke announcement. I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
But they've definitely done an outreach.
It would not surprise me.
By the way, they signed a 6'6" player recently. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. Yeah, that's impressive. So. That's impressive. I also thought you led right into that after the Becky Burke. You talked about calling Tucson home or Arizona home, but she said Tucson in particular.
That's right.
And it just makes me believe that with Sam Thomas still around the program, I just got that sense that maybe a coaching position in the future with the Wildcats could be in the offing for Adia
Interesting. I
or
don't
for Ari.
know. Very interesting,
Yeah,
because she did take a job on Adia's staff as
she
like
did.
the recruiting
Right, right,
coordinator.
right.
And I
Because
don't know
remember,
that she loved it, but it's possible though that she just wasn't giving up playing and all that type of
right.
stuff. And then
But
I didn't think that when she said Tucson, but that's a good point on your part.
the WNB season is so short, Jason, and it is the opposite of what the college basketball season is, and it lends itself to you either going to Europe to play or joining a coaching staff like she did. She's done both, right?
Right.
In her short time, or 3 years in the WNBA. So it wouldn't surprise me if Coach Burke was kind of offering, a little, hey, if you want to come join the staff, there's always a place. And what those are just they're nominal salaries. You're really just doing it for the experience. But it'd be great to see Ari back here in Tucson. I think she's kind of that face of a great run for Wildcat Nation, and I think that she'd be welcome back, and potentially, who knows, maybe she'd be a good coach someday. We'll find out.
She was so good offensively, but even better defensively.
Defensively, she was amazing
And
defensively, and she got a lot of recognition for that too.
and to do it on both ends with that intensity for that long of the game and never get tired, and to not have it affect her offensive game, just I like to say a warrior on the court. She was going to make sure the team was done, and that's sometimes what teams miss. Sometimes is the player who says, "Hey, we're not losing this game.
Right.
Come on my back.
Yep.
I'm gonna make sure we don't lose this game.
There are
Get on my back."
Yeah,
And
that's
that was her. She's that type of leader. Yep.
And we see that occasionally. We've seen other guys, and I think the guy that comes to mind is T.J. McConnell. What he was able to do in the NBA playoffs for the Pacers. Ironically, they're both now in Indiana, both Ari and T.J. But T.J. is one of those guys too that maybe their talent level isn't where a Paige Beckers is, or a Caitlin Clark is, or Tyrese Halliburton or whatever. But man, they play their rear ends off and they don't quit. And you're right, it's kind of like, I'm not letting us lose. You can either follow me or you can just stand there, but I'm not letting us lose. And I think there's a little of that with Ari, certainly a lot of that with Ari, and there's certainly a lot of that with TJ.
Maybe we need to take a trip to Indiana, maybe sometime next how about early April? What do you think about early April of next year, if you catch my drift?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know what I'm talking about. Obviously,
Yeah.
the NCAA Final Four is in Indiana.
That'd be an easy excuse to go there and then do a couple of sidebar stories, right?
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think one of Arizona men's basketball's 4 trips to the Final Four was Indianapolis.
I thought the championship was Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't here for that. I know one was in Minneapolis, Indianapolis, I believe, and I don't know about the two others. My predecessor Dave was here for that. But I think that was one of the stops, and you're right. That may be 97. So Pat's looking it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up, but I'm pretty sure it is. My memory is not very good sometimes, Jason. But I thought, no, that was in Minnesota. Oh no. No.
01 was Minnesota.
It was Indianapolis. Let me double check.
Yeah, all right. Our
Indianapolis.
producer Ryan, the producers. Yeah,
1997 RCA Dome in
I
Indianapolis.
believe 01 was when they lost to Duke in the championship game, and that was the player who just got arrested. It was a star player in the gambling ring just now for Arizona men's basketball. He played 2 years at Arizona, and all right, we're looking it up right now.
Yeah, I'm looking for your 2001 NCAA Final Four. You're talking about Gilbert
Arenas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Gilbert Arenas was the star.
Yeah.
And
Twin Cities was 2001.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was hurt in that game. And wasn't able to give everything he had.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So great to see Ari doing well, and glad for that. All right, let's go back, Pat, to our Huddle poll question, and that is, what do you think? And everybody, don't let the interview influence you, but it's okay if it does. What do you think was Arizona Wildcats' best sports moment since 2000? That's about what I thought. I thought maybe football a little higher. The issue with triathlon also is that many people don't go to the matches, right? So you can't really be like, hey, I was there when they beat so and so. It's It's not that type of situation.
I
What that
will
one
say
has going
this.
for it is the Natty. You
Yeah,
can't do any
yeah.
better than that.
I will
Right.
say this: their national championship team, some of those members back this year, are doing well nationally and internationally, individually right now too. So they really have put together quite a powerful team that potentially could win a national championship again this year for a women's triathlon. But yeah, when you're talking 40, 45 teams
Right.
nationally playing or competing in this triathlon versus the hundreds in basketball and the a couple hundred in football. Yeah.
Before we say goodbye, one other thought here. I mentioned this at the end of the sportscast yesterday, but we were out of time, so you couldn't really comment on it. I think I had to toss to break. The NCAA men's basketball keeping it at 68 and not going more. Your thoughts on that, and I'll give you mine. I don't want to see any more of the teams that, let's call it, deserve it in the current format have to play another game. I don't love it when there's a 6-11 game and they have to play another game. I almost kind of want to see if we have to expand it, an 8-team playoff, like 8 teams playoff or something like that to get that spot in there or something like that. I just don't want those other teams having to play another game and having to play 7 games to win the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
That's my initial thought.
And I don't either. I don't hear this there. To me, I don't hear this major clamoring when you have 68 teams, teams 69 through 74, play better. I mean, do something more then, because there are ample opportunities. You're talking about, 40 some
I
teams.
do think they really made a mistake with St. John's 2 years ago.
And that might be, Jason, but mistakes happen here or there, but that doesn't mean you change the whole system. And then, to your point, you add a whole nother game for half the teams, or however you would do it. I think 68's plenty big. I think those 4 play-in games are enough. And don't discount.
I said 6-11. I meant 11-11. Go ahead.
Yeah, but don't discount what the regular season and those conference tournaments mean. If that's the case, then don't do conference tournaments. Then don't play such a long. I mean, you get into that argument where you start watering down what the regular season and those conference tournaments mean. Those conference tournaments means everything for those mid-major schools, and so that's the way it should be. You should keep it that way. And I don't want to change it. I think going to 68 was further than I even wanted to go.
Yeah, I don't like the 68 for what I'm mentioning. That 11-11 game, I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like the 16-16 game where one of the 16 teams doesn't get to play the one and have that experience. Yeah, so they're going to
real experience. Right.
You lose that real tournament experience. So I don't like the 16-16 game.
Yeah,
I don't like the 11-11 either.
And then you get in the whole thing. Is this really the first round or is it the second round? Because we already had those 4 games, those first 4, and it's just. And then you get a team like Arizona State a few years ago. They won a play-in game. They're like, we won an NCAA tournament game. No, you didn't. You won a play-in game. So anyway, that's already enough. So no, I don't ever want to see them expand past what they did. Even if you had another 50 teams to Division I, I think that we complain about the football, and we'll see how it goes from here. But you're going to start losing some interest if you're not careful when you start adding more and more teams. And I think the one thing we've seen, March Madness is unique, and it's maybe one of the best tournaments of any sport in the world. I know soccer fans, football fans will argue with me that the World Cup's better, and it might be. But my point is, every year we can count on one thing, and that's an amazing month's worth of basketball games. And I think
is Monday Night Football diluted because there's a game on Thursday night now, or is Monday Night Football diluted because Sunday night has the better package now, or is Monday Night Football diluted just because there's so many options? It's not like there's 4 channels like there were in the 1970s. What's the reason Monday Night Football going along with that is diluted?
Yeah, that's probably
what I'm trying to get at, Pat. Is it the number of games that's diluted Monday Night Football, or is it something else, meaning Sunday has the better package and it's just so many different viewing options?
It's not only Sunday gets the better package, but the Fox and CBS get the next best games for their premier games on Sunday. So now all of a sudden you're looking at maybe the fourth best game on Monday night in some cases, not always, but sometimes. And so I think that's part of the problem. I think it's a schedule that doesn't allow that Monday night game on ESPN ABC to be the best. It's kind of the fourth best, and that can. But we've also seen that Monday night game mean a heck of a lot too. You don't always know which teams are going to be good. They can make some changes late in the schedule to move things around, to move games up to the prime time. But I think it's a combination, but more than anything, it's the fourth best game of the week.
Yeah. All right. Very good. So they'll debate on or vote on whether they have more teams next year. Just this year, they're keeping it at 68 for 2026. But
I think that's good.
There. All right. We hope you enjoyed the interview with Ari, and thanks for participating in the Huddle poll question. Like I say every week during the summer, I don't know that we're going to be back next week. If not, we'll be back soon. We do 4 years.
Football's going to be here before you know it, Jason.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about either previewing the Hawaii game maybe, and that's in a couple of weeks, and so we'll have that. So looking forward to that, and we're almost through the summer when it comes to sports because football's kind of starting up. But as for the hot weather, Pat, that you mentioned, that's going to stick around here a little while. I think.
While longer. Yeah.
So all right, for Pat, I'm Jason. Thanks everybody for watching the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. We'll see you next time, everybody.